Welcome back to LFC Echo Daily, the only channel you need for everything happening at Anfield right now. Today we've got a massive bulletin. A key attacker has mysteriously vanished from training days before a huge Premier League opener. A midfielder's Anfield career is finally over after weeks of negotiation. Fabrizio Romano has dropped a bombshell about a double transfer that could reshape Liverpool's entire attack. And by the end of this video, you will find out exactly how much money Liverpool's owners really pocketed in a deal far bigger than anyone first thought. Stay to the end, because the biggest number of the day is coming last. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and drop a comment with your prediction for Sunday, because this squad is changing fast and you do not want to miss a single update. Chiesa vanishes from Liverpool training. Squad for Newcastle. Something strange happened at the AXA training centre on Wednesday. Andoni Iraola put a 25-man squad through their paces just days before the Premier League opener at Newcastle, and one very recognisable face was missing. Federico Chiesa was nowhere to be seen. The Italian had played 45 minutes in a behind-closed-doors stalemate against Como only 3 days earlier. So this was not a player quietly phased out of pre-season entirely. He was involved, he looked fit, and then suddenly he was gone. Liverpool sources stress there is no indication at this stage that the absence is tied to a transfer, but Chiesa is considered available for the right price this summer, and Iraola is still finalising a squad that must be trimmed for domestic and European registration. An unexplained absence just 72 hours before a season opener is exactly the kind of detail that gets transfer windows moving. Is this a minor knock being managed with caution, a rest day after a packed pre-season, or the first visible crack in a situation that could end with Chiesa's Anfield career being over before it really began under the new head coach? Right now, nobody outside the training ground truly knows, and every hour of silence only adds fuel to the speculation building around him. We do know who else was out there. Jeremy Jacquet, Ronald Araujo and Alexis McAllister all trained normally after their first pre-season minutes against Como, a huge boost for a defence stretched thin for weeks. They were joined by Curtis Jones, who stayed with the group even as advanced talks over his Anfield exit continued, a story we are about to unpack in full. Meanwhile, Ifeanyi Ndukwe, one of the standout performers of the entire pre-season, was absent from first-team training altogether, for reasons that involve a European move closer than most fans realise. For now, the centre of defence remains the biggest talking point, with the battle to partner Virgil van Dijk still wide open. Jacquet impressed against Como, but that was his first appearance since February, limited to 45 minutes. Araujo, freshly arrived on loan from Barcelona, is pushing hard to make the shirt his own from match day 1. Whoever starts alongside Van Dijk against Newcastle does so under enormous scrutiny, and with Chiesa's whereabouts still a mystery, this story is far from finished. It is also worth remembering how thin the margin for error already is in this squad. Liverpool have lost 3 regular starters this summer on free transfers alone, and every additional absence, however small, forces Iraola to lean on players with limited senior minutes together. That is precisely why a single missing face in training carries so much weight right now, when in a normal pre-season it might barely register as news at all. In another news, Liverpool confirms goalkeeper transfer plan. For weeks, there has been genuine unease over the goalkeeping situation at Anfield. At the start of the summer, an entire rebuild of the position looked possible. Alisson was strongly linked with Juventus, and with Ibrahima Konate, Andy Robertson and Mohamed Salah already confirmed departures, a full squad revolution felt inevitable. Had Alisson actually left, Giorgi Mamardashvili would have been thrown straight into the deep end as undisputed number 1, a prospect that made plenty of supporters uneasy. That unease was not unfounded. Zion Suzuki and James Trafford were both floated as potential recruits at various points, underlining how seriously the club assessed its options. Mamardashvili's actual performances across his debut season did little to settle nerves either, frequently found wanting and, by most measures, looking considerably worse than Caoimhín Kelleher, the goalkeeper he replaced, who has continued to impress since leaving for Brentford. Now, according to a fresh update from respected reporter Jack Lusby, the picture is clearer. Liverpool were genuinely open to selling Alisson earlier in the window, but the call has been made to keep him, described as the right decision. Mamardashvili was privately disappointed with his own debut campaign and has personally acknowledged the need to sharpen his distribution, the technical area that repeatedly let him down. The conclusion is stark. Another full season as understudy, still waiting behind a 33-year-old Brazilian now in the final year of his contract for a second time. That timeline is the part supporters cannot ignore. Alisson remains one of a kind when fully fit, but his injury list has grown longer every season, and the club edges closer to a genuine succession crisis if Mamardashvili cannot close the gap. He was once hailed as an outright fantastic goalkeeping talent, but unless he transforms his game this campaign, question marks over his readiness to inherit the gloves will only grow louder. Context matters here too. Liverpool paid a club record fee for a goalkeeper to sign Mamardashvili, so patience only stretches so far before results on the pitch have to justify that outlay. Every mistake from now on will be measured against both the transfer fee and the growing shadow of Alisson's continued excellence, a comparison that is unlikely to fade anytime soon. In another news, Curtis Jones transfers to Inter Milan agreed. Liverpool have agreed to sell Curtis Jones to Inter Milan, a genuinely significant moment because it becomes the club's first permanent sale of the entire window. Every other exit so far has been a free transfer, with Salah, Konate and Robertson all walking away without a fee, or a loan, like Armin Petchy's earlier departure. Jones is different entirely. Hard cash finally coming back into Anfield's coffers. The numbers tell their own story. Inter had multiple bids rejected, including a most recent offer of €30 million, roughly £26 million. Liverpool held firm for closer to €40 million, around £34 million. According to Fabrizio Romano, the two clubs have found their middle ground, with an agreement in place for a package worth €35 million, roughly £30 million. Personal terms were never the sticking point, and Jones's medical is already being scheduled. But Jones leaving is not the end of the outgoing business today. Sky Sports report Levante are in advanced talks to sign centre-back Ifeanyi Ndukwe on a season-long loan, Liverpool's sixth exit of the summer and second loan departure. It is stated to be a straight loan with no permanent option, though late interest from other clubs could still complicate matters. With Jeremy Jacquet, Giovanni Leone and Joe Gomez all sidelined through injury, the 18-year-old was one of the few fit centre-backs available throughout pre-season, even starting the 4-2 defeat to Leeds. But with Araujo arriving on loan and Jacquet back in training, Iraola clearly believes Ndukwe benefits more from regular first-team football elsewhere. 2 exits confirmed in a single day, and Liverpool's clear-out is only gathering pace. For context, Jones made well over 150 appearances across all competitions since breaking into the first team, a genuine academy success story whose departure marks the end of an era as much as it does a straightforward business transaction. Inter Milan, for their part, gain a versatile midfielder with Premier League pedigree at a fee that, by modern standards, still represents relatively shrewd business for the Italian giants. In another news, Romano confirms Liverpool double transfer. The clock is ticking loudly for Richard Hughes. With the new season just days away, Liverpool's sporting director has precious little time to turn an underwhelming window into one that finally addresses the squad's most glaring weaknesses. There have already been costly setbacks, Yan Diomande the clearest example, a winger identified as a long-term Salah replacement before the deal collapsed and he joined Real Madrid instead. A painful miss given how badly Liverpool needed another difference-maker in attack. Pre-season has only reinforced the urgency. exposing a worrying lack of depth in several key positions. With the Newcastle opener fast approaching, there remains a nagging sense of inactivity around the club. Iraola needs a squad built for his intense, high-pressing football, and if Hughes cannot deliver reinforcements before the window shuts, Liverpool risk repeating last summer's mistake, when heavy investment in some areas left others critically short. This is where Romano's latest update becomes so significant. In a recent video, he confirmed Cody Gakpo's move to Tottenham is still very much alive, with the Londoners continuing to push for one of Liverpool's most reliable attacking outlets over the last 2 seasons. Here is the twist that has sent shockwaves through the fan base. Romano revealed that if the Gakpo deal goes through, Liverpool are already lining up a double transfer response. Bradley Barcola remains the #1 target, but the club is simultaneously planning to sign an additional winger on top of the Frenchman, effectively replacing one departure with 2 incomings. Romano has previously revealed interest in Ibrahim Mbaye, the young Senegalese forward also at PSG, and many believe he could be the second man through the door. Losing Salah on a free transfer was already a monumental blow to replace with one signing. Losing Gakpo on top of that would leave an even bigger hole. But responding with 2 fresh attacking additions would represent one of the most aggressive rebuilds of any Premier League front line this summer. Every domino that falls over the next week could reshape how Iraola's attack lines up against Newcastle, and the clock really is ticking. In another news, Pundit backs Liverpool to beat Arsenal to Barcola. Former Arsenal midfielder Emmanuel Petit has revealed why he believes Liverpool will ultimately beat the reigning champions to one of the summer's most sought-after signings in a deal that will comfortably surpass £100 million. Both clubs remain locked in a pursuit of a new wide attacker before the window shuts on September the 1st, with PSG and France star Bradley Barcola the common thread. Liverpool have long been considered front-runners, with contract talks in Paris having stalled, but Arsenal have entered late, especially after offloading Leandro Trossard and preparing to part with Gabriel Martinelli. Petit's reasoning centres on squad fit rather than reputation. He points to Arsenal's recent signing of Christos Tsolis, who has already impressed, including in the Community Shield. With Martinelli heading for the exit and Trossard gone, Arsenal need another option on the left, but adding Barcola on top of Tsolis would create an unnecessary logjam. His verdict is blunt. He is a huge admirer of Barcola, but believes Liverpool need him far more urgently, given the problems out wide, particularly down the left, since last season. Petit's most eyebrow-raising comments, though, came on Liverpool's wider top 4 prospects. Despite backing the Reds to win the Barcola race, he does not believe that alone secures Champions League qualification. He is still waiting to see Liverpool's full intent in the market, describing the current squad as still missing key players. His predicted top 4 reads Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City and Manchester United, pointedly leaving Liverpool on the outside looking in, at least for now. Alongside the Barcola chase, fresh reports also indicate Liverpool are keen on a highly rated Chilean attacker, a story coming up shortly, while Cody Gakpo currently looks more likely to stay at Anfield than leave, with Liverpool standing firm against Spurs. The outcome of the final 2 weeks could decide whether Petit's prediction ages well or spectacularly badly. In another news, Barcola's Liverpool dream finally revealed. Liverpool are preparing to launch a mammoth second bid for Barcola following extensive talks with PSG, and at the same time, the winger's long-term ambitions to play for the Merseyside Giants have finally been laid bare by someone who knows him better than almost anyone in football. The Reds want the 23-year-old as their marquee replacement for Salah, and while the route out of Paris has been cleared by 3 high-profile arrivals in Luis Enrique's front line, PSG are not making this easy. An opening offer worth around £98 million was quickly rejected, and met with a demand for closer to £145 million, PSG chasing a British record fee, given the fees already being thrown around the Premier League this season. Talks have continued regardless, and Liverpool have already agreed personal terms with Barcola on a long-term contract. According to French outlet Foot One, Liverpool's next formal offer is expected to be worth around €135 million, close to £115 million, with growing confidence inside the club that this improved bid could finally get a deal done. But the numbers only tell half the story. Amaury Barlet, Barcola's former youth coach at Lyon, first worked with him from age 11. Barlet, who also helped develop Ryan Cherki and Malo Gusto, described a striker with a genuine instinct for goal, even as a boy, always attacking the space behind defenders, so aggressive in his timing he was frequently flagged offside. Barlet believes that exact hunger to attack space is precisely what makes elite attackers so influential in the modern game. Then comes the detail every Liverpool fan will love. Barlet confirmed that even as a young boy, Barcola followed Liverpool closely, the club always somewhere in the back of his mind. This is not simply a transfer built on financial logic or a Salah-shaped vacancy. It appears to align with a genuine boyhood dream. Add growing talk that this deal is now a case of when, not if, plus a specific tactic Liverpool are reportedly using to drive the fee down, and the picture becomes clear. Every piece is falling into place, except the one that matters most. Will PSG finally say yes? For a player who has quietly held Liverpool close to his heart since childhood, the wait to find out must feel every bit as agonising as it does for the supporters desperate to see him arrive in red. In another news, Karim Ahmed completes USA college move. Former Liverpool Academy forward Karim Ahmed has completed his move to NCAA Division I side Pittsburgh Panthers following his release earlier this summer, closing out an association with the club stretching back 13 years. Pittsburgh confirmed the signing on social media, welcoming him to the Panther family and adding the 19-year-old to their roster for the 2026 college season. Ahmed begins his American career as a freshman, wearing number 7, and could even make his debut this week when Pittsburgh hosts 7th-ranked Maryland. Ahmed's Liverpool story began at age 6. He made an immediate impact at youth level, scoring on his under-18s debut in an FA Youth Cup tie against Bournemouth in December 2022. Able to play as a forward or attacking midfielder, he built a reputation for creativity, highlighted by 7 goals and 5 assists for the under-18s in 2024-25, a season that also saw him feature in the UEFA Youth League against Bologna and RB Leipzig. He stepped up to the under-21s under Rob Page in 2025-26, but could not force his way towards senior involvement, and Liverpool confirmed in June he would depart when his contract expired, alongside other academy graduates. His move gives him a fresh pathway, with Pittsburgh scheduled to play at least 16 regular season matches in the competitive Atlantic Coast Conference. What makes this story resonate beyond one departure is the scale of turnover in Liverpool's academy pipeline this summer. Ahmed becomes the 3rd academy player to find a new club after release, following goalkeeper DJ Bernard at Middlesbrough and striker Oakley Cannonier at Hougang United. Others remain unresolved, including Reece Williams, who has trialled with New York Red Bulls and Burton Albion, while Josh Davidson and Terence Miles are still weighing their next move. It is a quiet reminder that behind every marquee signing, an entire generation of academy dreams is ending or transforming, even as the first team dominates the headlines. In another news, Calvin Ramsey loan transfer edges closer. Calvin Ramsey is attracting genuine loan interest before the window closes, but Liverpool have chosen to pump the brakes on 2 separate potential exits at exactly the same time. Scottish club St Mirren have emerged as suitors for the 23-year-old right-back, with reports making clear he is unlikely to feature heavily in Iraola's plans this season. Because Ramsey is not eligible as a homegrown player, he would almost certainly need cutting from the squad list anyway if Liverpool want to register further signings, a technical detail that has quietly opened the door for St Mirren. Ramsey's Liverpool story has been long and winding. A Scotland international who came through Aberdeen and made 39 first-team appearances before his 2022 move, he has been a regular fixture in pre-season, but Iraola has consistently preferred Jeremy Frimpong at right-back. With Joe Gomez and loan arrival Ronald Araujo both able to cover the position, and Connor Bradley expected to step up his return from a serious knee injury, the writing appears to be on the wall. His contract runs until 2027, and if he leaves on loan rather than permanently, Liverpool would first look to extend his terms to protect future value. Ramsey is far from the only name in motion today. This is Anfield understands Kieran Morrison has already undergone a medical with League One side Sheffield Wednesday, ahead of a season-long loan. Here is the unexpected turn though. Proposed loan deals for James McConnell and Luke Chambers are being deliberately put on hold, while Iraola and the recruitment team consider whether to keep them as genuine parts of the squad rather than sending them out. Preston are understood to be among the interested parties monitoring that situation. Why hesitate on two loans that seemed close? The likeliest explanation is squad depth anxiety. With Chiesa's status uncertain, Jones departing permanently, and further attacking incomings still to be finalised, Iraola may simply want more bodies available than originally planned, at least until the picture clears. Whatever the reasoning, McConnell and Chambers now find themselves at the centre of a genuinely fascinating internal debate about their futures. Both players have impressed in patches during pre-season, and holding on to them keeps Iraola's options open in central areas, where injuries have already bitten hard this summer. It is a reminder that not every transfer story this window is about incoming marquee names. Sometimes the most telling decisions are the ones where a club chooses to say no to an exit rather than yes to a fee. In another news, Liverpool make move for £11 million wonderkid. With less than 2 weeks to finalise their squad, Liverpool have made an official inquiry for Chilean wonderkid Dario Osorio, according to Danish outlet Campo. Attack remains the priority area this summer, and with Salah's departure leaving an enormous void on the right, there are currently very few natural right wingers on the market who would genuinely improve this squad. That reality has pushed Rio Ungamoha into contention for regular minutes, with Ibrahim Mbaye also strongly linked, while Luis Kumas and Federico Chiesa remain other options, though realistically neither is viewed as a guaranteed starter. Liverpool are not alone in their interest, with Everton, Leeds United and AC Milan all also watching the 22-year-old FC Midtjylland attacker. Midtjylland will quietly hope more suitors emerge and drive the price beyond the roughly 150 million kroner currently mentioned in the market, a classic case of a selling club sensing an opportunity. So what makes Osorio intriguing? He was directly involved in 18 goals across all competitions last season, striking numbers for a player still only 22. Although his best position is the right wing, he also showed real versatility, deployed as a number 10 and even as a striker at various points, exactly the flexibility that becomes priceless when injuries strike, as Liverpool discovered painfully last season when almost every player tried at right-back picked up an injury. The financial side makes this most fascinating of all. Reports suggest Osorio would cost around £11.75 million, an almost negligible fee by modern standards, particularly for a club still chasing a marquee signing worth well over £100 million in Barcola. If the numbers hold, this represents a virtually no-risk move, the kind of low-cost, high-upside bet that could pay off spectacularly, while barely registering on the club's overall summer spending. To put that fee in perspective, it is roughly a tenth of what Liverpool are currently prepared to spend on Barcola alone, which shows exactly why scouting departments across Europe are increasingly hunting for value signings in smaller leagues rather than competing purely on marquee names. In another news, FSG's Liverpool deal was even bigger. New details reveal that 1892 Holdings, the consortium fronted by Amit Bhatia, actually paid over £2 billion for their stake in Liverpool Football Club, dramatically larger than the roughly 30% stake and £1.5 billion valuation originally reported. According to Andy Hunter of The Guardian and Paul Joyce of The Times, the true scale of the transaction sees 1892 Holdings acquiring closer to a 38% stake. Hunter's reporting explains that this increased stake, first uncovered by The Athletic, still values Liverpool at approximately £5.5 billion, underlining the club's staggering growth since FSG's original £300 million purchase in 2010. The consortium also retains the option to increase their holding to a full majority within the next 12 months, though FSG say they are not formally committed to allowing that. Even so, the fact a larger share was sold than originally reported raises an obvious question. One Paul Joyce puts directly: why was FSG not more transparent about the true size of this shareholding from the start? That has not gone unnoticed by supporter groups. Spirit of Shankly has already contacted the independent football regulator to demand due diligence on a deal still subject to formal approval. So what does this mean for life at Anfield? FSG continue running day-to-day operations for now, but the boardroom has already been reshaped. Amit Bhatia becomes vice chairman, Elaine Savarin, wife of Facebook co-founder Eduardo Savarin, joins an expanded board, and Brian Baum, representing Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, also takes a position. Bhatia, son-in-law of Indian billionaire Lakshmi Mittal, had reportedly been in talks with FSG for well over a year before this agreement was reached. Step back and look at the bigger picture. FSG bought Liverpool for £300 million in 2010. They have now sold well over a third of the club for more than £2 billion alone, while retaining day-to-day control, with an option holding partner boasting genuinely staggering global financial firepower, sitting just one boardroom decision away from a majority takeover. Whether that eventually translates into fresh transfer war chests for Richard Hughes, or simply marks a quiet, long-term shift in who ultimately controls this football club, remains to be seen. But this is now, beyond doubt, a significantly bigger and more consequential ownership deal than anyone outside FSG's inner circle initially let on. And Liverpool fans deserve to know exactly what it means for their club's future. And that brings us to the end of today's LFC Echo Daily Bulletin. From a mystery absence in training, to a permanent sale finally confirmed, to a transfer plan that could reshape the entire attack, right through to a £2 billion ownership revelation nobody saw coming, this has been one of the biggest days of the entire summer at Anfield. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an update as this window races toward its dramatic conclusion. Drop a like if you made it to the end, and tell us in the comments which story has you most excited or most nervous heading into Sunday's opener at Newcastle. See you in the next video. Come on, you Reds.